25 hidden underground cities in Europe you were never told about. You've seen the castles, the cathedrals, the crowded cafes and charming towns of Europe. But what if I told you that the real stories, the most unbelievable one, are hidden beneath your feet? Entire underground cities, right below the surface. Some were carved thousands of years ago. Others, sealed after wars, plagues, or revolutions. People lived, worshipped, escaped, and even vanished in these dark stone worlds. And most travelers walk right over them without ever knowing. They're not ruins, they're full cities. Rooms, stairs, tunnels, beds, graves, chapels, schools, all underground. And the crazy part? Many of these cities were never supposed to be found again. So why are they showing up now? Who built them? And what were they hiding from? Part 1. The cities built to vanish. Imagine standing in a sunny valley in central Turkey. All around you, quiet villages, gentle hills, rocky cliffs. But dig just a few feet down, and you'll find a city. Not a ruin, not a basement. A city. Entire rooms carved into volcanic rock. Staircases spiraling into the earth. Air shafts, kitchens, even churches, all underground. This is Kuyu, and it once held up to 20,000 people, not just hiding, living for months, with animals, schools, food storage, and security tunnels designed to collapse if invaders came. It wasn't just protection, it was survival beneath the surface of history. And it wasn't alone. Nearby, in the broader region of Cappadocia, over 200 other underground cities exist. Some are small chambers, others span multiple floors. They're interconnected through miles of narrow tunnels, barely wide enough for one person to walk through. And yet somehow, people built them centuries ago, with no modern tools, no machines, just purpose and fear. Fear of invaders, fear of persecution, fear of being found. So they did the one thing they could: disappear. But this idea of vanishing cities wasn't unique to Turkey. In northern France, beneath the grass-covered hills of Nauers, lies a labyrinth so massive it still confuses archaeologists. Over 300 rooms, winding through 3 kilometers of chalky underground tunnels. Originally dug during the Middle Ages as quarries, these spaces were later transformed into full underground settlements during times of war. Families would bring livestock, tools, even wedding clothes. Some rooms were carved into churches, others into kitchens. There were hidden vents to let in air, but block out light. The goal? Stay underground and stay unseen. We're in the heart of Edinburgh, beneath the bustling Royal Mile, lies something far more haunted: the Edinburgh Vaults. These weren't built as a hiding place. They were storage units, workshops, and home, until they weren't. When the area was sealed off in the 19th century, the vaults were forgotten, but people kept slipping in. The poor, the unwanted, the criminal. Soon the vaults became a place of crime, disease, and death. A city below a city, where daylight never returned. Even today, guides refuse to go into certain vaults alone. Visitors report whispers, footsteps, freezing cold air. And whether you believe in ghosts or not, what's undeniable is the human suffering that stained those walls. And then there's something entirely different, not hidden because of fear, but because of function. In Poland, just outside Krakow, sits the Wieliczka salt mine, one of the most surreal underground spaces in the world. What began as a medieval salt mine turned into a sprawling subterranean world, with chambers, chapels, and even a vast cathedral, all carved from salt. Chandeliers made of crystallized salt, statues, reliefs, everything underground. For centuries, miners here didn't just work, they built a culture below the earth. And today, it's one of the few underground cities you can actually visit. But even so, much of it remains off limits. Too deep, too fragile, too forgotten. And these are just the first 5. Because if you thought hiding an entire city underground was rare, wait until you see what's beneath cities like Naples, Prague, and Odessa, where tunnels stretch for miles, and entire wars were fought without ever surfacing. Part 2. The tunnels beneath the living. In Naples, Italy, the city above is loud, colorful, chaotic, full of music and motion. But underneath it, a quiet labyrinth older than the Roman Empire. The Naples Underground, or Napoli Sotterranea, is a shadow city carved into volcanic rock. 280 miles of tunnels, aqueducts, catacombs, bunkers, all stacked beneath churches, apartment buildings, and pizza shops. Some of these tunnels were first dug by the Greeks in the 4th century BC, but it didn't stop there. The Romans expanded it. Medieval monks stored wine in. World War II families lived in them to survive air raids. Imagine hiding from bombs with your children, sitting beneath the same stone that once watered gladiators and stored ancient relics. And still, many of these tunnels remain unmapped. Some entrances are bricked up, others are disguised behind restaurant basements or sewer grates. Urban explorers say entire chambers are still down there, untouched, unrecorded, forgotten. Beneath the noise of Naples is silence. And in that silence, history. Now travel north to Prague, the heart of the Czech Republic, a city known for Gothic spires and medieval charm. But even Prague has secrets. In the city's old town, time didn't just pass, it buried. In the 13th century, a massive flood forced the city to raise its street level. But instead of demolishing the old buildings, they simply built over them. Today, you can walk into what looks like a basement and discover an entire medieval home frozen in time. Old doorways, wooden beams, staircases that used to lead outside. Now, they lead into walls. But it gets weirder. Some buildings in Prague have not just one, but two underground levels, signs of multiple street raises over the centuries. It's a vertical city built in layers, each one preserving the last. To walk through Prague's underground is to time travel. With each step, you fall deeper into a version of the city that no longer sees the sun. In Brno, Czech Republic's second largest city, there's something even more chilling. Beneath the vegetable market in the town square lies the labyrinth under Zelnitra, an underground world of wine cellars, medieval storage rooms, and plague-era vaults. Some chambers were used to store grain, others corpses. Victims of the Black Death were stacked in ossuaries, their bones placed into walls like furniture. Today, visitors walk through the same paths, past old torches, iron hooks, and shadows that seem too still. It's not a horror story. It's what happens when a city tries to manage death without ever moving it. And then there's Odessa, Ukraine. What's under Odessa isn't a city, it's a void. The Odessa catacombs are a maze of limestone tunnels stretching nearly 1,500 miles, longer than the Paris catacombs, longer than any known urban tunnel system in the world. Most of it was never even planned. In the 19th century, quarrymen dug the stone that built the city above, but they never reinforced the void they left behind. Over time, people began using it. First smugglers, then resistance fighters, then criminals. Some say entire families lived there during wartime, surviving in pitch blackness for weeks. Others say there are still bodies down, lost explorers who entered with a flashlight and never found the exit. Finally, we arrive in Paris, romantic, elegant, and haunted. The Paris catacombs are famous, but what most people see is only a fraction. Beneath the streets lies a network of ossuaries holding the bones of over 6 million people, narrow stone corridors lined with skulls, columns made of femur. But deeper still are levels that are off limits, tunnels used by secret societies, graffiti artists, and the occasional urban spelunker who slips in at night and doesn't return until morning, if they return at all. These aren't stories, they're structures, and they're still there, waiting. But as dark and strange as these cities sound, the next ones are even stranger. Because some underground cities weren't meant to hide people, they were built to control them. And what was done beneath Berlin, London, and Moscow will make you rethink what a city is even for. Part 3. Cities that controlled from below. Most underground cities were built to hide people, but some, they were built to watch them, to control, manage, contain, and if necessary, erase. Take Berlin, for example, a city that still carries the scars of the 20th century. Beneath its sidewalks lies a ghost network of bunkers, tunnels, and escape routes. Some were used during World War II, reinforced concrete shelters where thousands crammed in while bombs fell above. But others were designed later, during the Cold War. These bunkers weren't meant just to protect people, they were meant to preserve systems, government control centers, communication hubs, secret railway tunnels that linked key parts of East Germany's regime. If the surface was wiped out, power would continue from below. And even today, many of these places remain sealed. The entrances are hidden behind steel doors in subway stations. Some were flooded, others caved in. But the deeper you go into Berlin's underground, the clearer it becomes. Not every tunnel was built for survival. Some were built for surveillance. Now jump across the channel to London, where the famous underground is more than just a train system. During World War II, while bombs rained down during the Blitz, thousands of Londoners slept on subway platforms. But deeper still were hidden government shelters, like the Cabinet War Rooms, where Churchill and his team ran the country without ever surfacing. There were entire operational rooms below Westminster, bunk beds, kitchens, even a fake telephone exchange. But that was just the beginning. During the Cold War, new tunnels were constructed, deep-level shelters designed to house 8,000 government staff in the event of nuclear war. These weren't open to the public. They weren't even known to the public. You could walk above a busy street in Soho and never realize that beneath your feet was a fully functional underground city waiting for the siren. In Moscow, the secrets go even deeper, literally. Everyone knows the Moscow metro, famous for its marble walls and chandelier-lit platforms. But behind that beauty lies paranoia. The Soviet Union reportedly built a second subway system, codenamed Metro 2, deeper, faster, and fully off the books. It allegedly connects the Kremlin to key military bases, bunkers, and government dachas. No official map exists, the government denies it exists, but too many former officials have hinted that it's real. A city-sized lifeline beneath the city, built not for people, but for power. And the deeper you look into Europe, the more you find. In Stockholm, Sweden, an entire shelter system exists beneath the city. Built during the Cold War, these underground zones can house over 300,000 people. Schools and hospitals have secret basements that convert into shelters in minutes. Some parking garages can seal shut and turn into command centers. The walls are reinforced. Ventilation is filtered. It's not a conspiracy, it's policy. Sweden didn't wait to be attacked. It prepared to vanish underground. Meanwhile, in Bucharest, Romania, things took a darker turn. Under dictator Nicolae Ceausescu, a vast tunnel network was built beneath the capital. Officially, it was for heating systems, but unofficially, it became a web of secret passages, escape routes, guard tunnels, storage chambers. Whispers of torture rooms and control bunkers still circulate. Even today, many of these tunnels are off limits. Some entrances are hidden under manholes. Others were sealed permanently after 1989. But urban explorers who slip inside describe long corridors that go silent halfway through, graffiti that dates back decades, and an eerie sense that someone, somewhere, is still listening. These underground spaces weren't homes. They were strategies. They were shadows cast by power. But the next cities on this list? They're even stranger. Because in the next section, we enter places that were never meant for war or survival, but for religion, ritual, and belief. What's buried under Malta, Kiev, and Palermo isn't just architecture. It's an obsession carved in stone. Part 4. Carved by faith, preserved by obsession. Not all underground cities were born from fear or war. Some were built out of belief, deep belief, the kind that carves into stone for the sake of the soul, and never expects sunlight again. In the heart of the Mediterranean, on the island of Malta, lies one of the oldest underground structures in human history, the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum. At first glance, it looks like just another building in the town of Paola, but step inside, and you descend into a 6,000-year-old underworld, a labyrinth carved entirely by hand from limestone, 3 levels deep, burial chambers, ritual rooms, echo chambers tuned so precisely that a voice can vibrate across the stone like thunder. No one knows who built it, or why its lower levels were sealed for thousands of years. What we do know is that the remains of over 7,000 individuals were once placed inside, arranged, cataloged, then left in silence. Some believe it was a temple, others a tomb, but all agree it wasn't just architecture. It was intention, spiritual engineering preserved in stone. And Malta wasn't alone. Travel to Kiev, Ukraine, and beneath the city lies the Kiev-Pechersk Lavra, a monastic cave system dating back to the 11th century. Orthodox monks dug it themselves, carving chapels, dormitories, and tombs into the sandstone. Some went into the caves and never returned to the surface, choosing to live and die underground in pursuit of holiness. Palermo, Italy. The sacred turns eerie. Beneath the city's Capuchin monastery lies the Capuchin catacomb, a tunnel network lined not with bones, but full human bodies, dressed in clothing, propped up in poses, labeled with names and dates. Some are over 400 years old, but look like they could open their eyes at any moment. The monks believed in preserving the body as a vessel of God, and so they mummified their dead. But over time, the practice grew, from clergy to nobility, then to ordinary citizens. Parents would visit their deceased children. Widows sat with their embalmed husbands. It became a tradition, and a warning, one that whispers, "This too will be you." Then there's Valletta, Malta's capital, a fortress city built for defense, but protected from within. Beneath its elegant stone streets lies a vast network of tunnels. Dug initially by the Knights of St. John in the 1500s, these passages connected fortresses, hidden armories, and escape routes. But during World War II, they became shelters, retrofitted with beds, electricity, even underground hospitals. The past and present layered atop each other. Beneath every chapel, a bunker. Beneath every monument, a maze. And in Slovenia, beneath the quiet capital of Ljubljana, exists a different kind of sanctuary. Hidden beneath the city's castle hill are subterranean chapels carved into caves, spaces used by secret religious groups resistance fighters, and at times even pagan cults. Some walls are blackened with soot from centuries-old torches. Others are etched with symbols no one's fully decoded. Visitors speak of sudden cold spots, voices in silence, and a strange stillness that makes you forget the city is alive above you. These places weren't built to keep people out. They were built to reach something deeper, a god, a truth, a forever. But we're not done yet, because in the final part of this journey, we head to the most unexpected underground cities, ones hidden not by stone or strategy, but by time itself. Cities beneath cities, like New York's buried layers, and Detroit's lost neighborhoods, sealed off from the world. Some underground cities were built for war, others for worship. But the last ones on our list? They weren't really built underground. They simply ended up there. Time passed, cities grew, and slowly, whole neighborhoods, streets, and lives were swallowed by the rising world above. Let's begin with Paris. Not the bones this time, but something stranger. Beneath parts of the city, especially around Montmartre and the Latin Quarter, entire streets from the Middle Ages still exist. Bricked up, rerouted, forgotten. Some of them have visible shop signs from the 1600s. Others have lamppost mounts, still attached to stone walls. When Paris modernized under Napoleon III and Baron Haussmann, the old streets were covered, not demolished, just buried. Today, beneath luxury apartments and metro stations, some of these ghost roads remain, closed to the public, yet disturbingly intact. Now cross the ocean briefly to show this isn't just a European phenomenon. In New York City, especially in Lower Manhattan, there are buildings with basements that were once ground floors. In some areas, you can walk down a set of stairs on the sidewalk and see the tops of old windows, windows that now stare into dirt. As street levels rose with every generation of infrastructure, water pipes, subways, cables, the city just built upward. The past didn't disappear, it got trapped underneath. And in Detroit, Michigan, something even more surreal happened. Entire neighborhoods were shut down, streets barricaded, homes abandoned, then covered or sealed off from the modern city. Some were industrial sites, poisoned by chemical. Others were neighborhoods destroyed by freeway construction. But in rare cases, when developers dug new foundations, they discovered entire streets below, with lampposts, mailboxes, and even signage from the 1940s, still perfectly preserved. It wasn't erosion, it was erased, the city turning its back on itself. Back in Europe, Warsaw, Poland, is a place built on memory. After being destroyed in World War II, much of the city was rebuilt from blueprints and photos, often on top of the ruins. In some areas, entire buildings stand directly above their older versions, which remain underground like ghosts beneath their replacements. Preservationists have found old staircases that lead nowhere, except back in time. Even Athens, Greece, the cradle of civilization, discovered that its metro system had to curve and reroute constantly to avoid disturbing ancient ruins. While digging for new subway lines, workers found tombs, pottery workshops, temples, and had to carefully document, preserve, and sometimes build the stations around them. Today, some metro platforms display ancient Greek artifacts inside glass walls, a surreal museum buried in a commuter tunnel. And what does all of this mean? It means that the past is never truly gone. It's under your feet, right now. Every city has layers, every city has secrets.